Hello and welcome to Millennium News Hour. I am Tanziba Nawreen. In today's bulletin, we will present top and trending news from across the nation and the world. Let's begin with the headlines of the day. US speeds up Abrams tank delivery to Ukraine war zone. At least 2 dead as yet another storm hits California. TikTok CEO to highlight efforts to protect user data in testimony to Congress. Two school administrators shot by a student at Denver High School. More deaths, injuries linked to recalled eye drops. China calls Xi's Russia visit one of friendship, peace. Sleepless night after Pakistan-Afghanistan quake kills 13. Russia launches fresh attack on Ukrainian cities. Under oath, Boris Johnson denies he lied over Partygate. Macron warns French pension plan implemented by end of year. Ukraine, IMF agree on 15.6 billion loan package. Holy month of Ramadan begins for Muslims across the world. Israeli foreign minister visits Poland to restore ties. Winnie the Pooh film pulled from Hong Kong cinemas. Ohtani fans Trout, Japan tops US 3-2 for WBC Championship. And former Arsenal midfielder Mesut Ozil retires at 34. You were listening to Headlines, now news in detail. The Pentagon is speeding up its delivery of Abrams tanks to Ukraine, opting to send a refurbished older model that can be ready faster, with the aim of getting the 70-ton battle powerhouses to the war zone by the fall, the Pentagon said Tuesday. The original plan was to send Ukraine 31 of the newer M1A2 Abrams, which could have taken a year or two to build and ship. But officials said the decision was made to send the older M1A1 version, which can be taken from army stocks. Officials said the M1A1 also will be easier for Ukrainian forces to learn to use and maintain as they fight the invading Russian forces. This is about getting this important combat capability into the hands of the Ukrainians sooner rather than later, said Brigadier General Pat Ryder, the Pentagon press secretary. The Biden administration announced in January that it would send the tanks to Ukraine after insisting for months that they were too complicated and too hard to maintain and repair. The decision was part of a broader political maneuver that opened the door for Germany to announce it would send its Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine and allow Poland and other allies to do the same. Speaking at a Pentagon press conference, Ryder said the tanks will be refurbished and refitted to make them combat ready for Ukraine. He declined to say where that work will be done. A strong late-season Pacific storm brought damaging winds and more rain and snow to saturated California on Tuesday, as the first full day of spring showed little change from the state's extraordinary winter. The storm killed at least 2 people, authorities said. The storm focused most of its energy on central and southern parts of the state, bringing threats of heavy runoff and mountain snowfall that forecasters said will be measured in feet. In the north, intense hail was reported in Sacramento, the state capital. Trees and power lines were reported downed in the San Francisco Bay Area. An Amtrak commuter train carrying 55 passengers struck a downed tree and derailed near the East Bay village of Porta Costa, CBS Bay Area reports. The train remained upright and nobody was injured, Amtrak and fire officials said. In the Bay Area community of Portola Valley, a man driving a sewer truck was killed when a tree fell onto the vehicle. The station also says Contra Costa County Fire confirmed that 1 person died and another was injured in Walnut Creek Tuesday night when a tree fell on their vehicle. TikTok's chief executive plans to tell a House committee Thursday that the social media giant is taking real action to address national security concerns from U.S. policymakers and stave off a potential ban in the U.S., according to his prepared testimony. CEO Shou Zi-Chew is likely to face intense questioning when he testifies before the House Committee on Energy and Commerce on Thursday morning, with efforts to ban the widely popular social media app gaining momentum in Washington. The hearing will focus on TikTok's consumer privacy and data security practices, how the platform affects children, and its relationship with the Chinese Communist Party or CCP, according to the committee. US officials and national security experts have warned that TikTok, which has 150 million American users, could be used to spy on Americans or as a propaganda tool by the Chinese government. Advocates for banning the app in the US said that TikTok's China-based parent company ByteDance could be forced to share user data with the CCP. Thursday's hearing will be TikTok's highest profile opportunity to mitigate those national security fears. Chew plans to tell the panel that ByteDance is not an agent of China or any other country, and will say TikTok is building what amounts to a firewall to seal off protected US user data from unauthorized foreign access, including the establishment of a new corporate entity to oversee the handling of US user data. A male student shot 2 school administrators at a high school in Denver on Wednesday, and the victims were taken to area hospitals, officials said. Denver Police Chief Ron Thomas said the student fled the scene after the shooting. 1 victim was in critical condition and 1 was in serious but stable condition, Thomas said. The 2 administrators were searching the student and a handgun was retrieved and several shots were fired, Thomas said. The student was not identified because he is a juvenile, the chief said, but he is known to authorities. Mayor Michael Hancock described the student as an African-American male wearing a hoodie with an astronaut on it. The mayor said the student was armed and dangerous. US officials are reporting 2 more deaths and additional cases of vision loss linked to eye drops tainted with drug-resistant bacteria. The eye drops from Ezekiel and Delsum Pharma were recalled in February, and health authorities are continuing to track infections as they investigate the outbreak. In the latest government tally, 68 people were diagnosed with infections from the bacteria, which has now caused a total of 3 deaths and 8 cases of people losing their vision, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported on Tuesday. That's up from 1 death and 5 cases of permanent vision loss reported last month. The CDC said 4 people have undergone surgery to remove an eyeball due to the infections. The outbreak is considered particularly worrisome because the bacteria driving it is resistant to standard antibiotics. The CDC has now identified cases in 16 states, including California, New York, Illinois, Texas, and Pennsylvania. Most of the cases have been linked to 4 regional clusters and SDCare's drops are the only product used by patients in each of those groups. The recalled drops were manufactured by Global Pharma Healthcare in India, where the bacteria Pseudomonas aeruginosa is commonly linked to outbreaks in hospitals. It can spread through contaminated hands or medical equipment. Now it's time for global updates. China on Wednesday said President Xi Jinping's just concluded visit to Russia was a journey of friendship, cooperation, and peace, and again criticized Washington for providing military support to Ukraine. The trip that ended Wednesday signaled no new progress in ending the bloody conflict between Russia and Ukraine, while shoring up President Vladimir Putin's standing amid growing efforts to isolate him and his government internationally. China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin reiterated China's claims that it remains neutral in the conflict and said it had no selfish motives on the Ukraine issue, has not stood idly by or taken the opportunity to profit itself. What China has done boils down to one word, that is, to promote peace talks, Wang said at a daily briefing. Wang also accused the US of lacking impartiality and of fanning the flames of the conflict by providing defensive weapons to Ukraine to Washington's own benefit. The US, NATO, and partner nations have openly supported Kiev since the start of the conflict, and China is widely seen as providing economic backing for Putin's regime while avoiding being directly involved. President Xi Jinping's visit to Russia is a journey of friendship, cooperation, and peace, which has aroused positive responses in the international community, Wang said. A magnitude 6.5 earthquake that struck much of Pakistan and neighboring Afghanistan has killed at least 13 people and injured scores in both countries, officials said Wednesday as authorities struggled to collect data on casualties and damages from remote areas. The tremor rattled the South Asian region late Tuesday, sending terrified residents fleeing from homes and offices. At least 9 people died in Pakistan and 4 in Afghanistan. The US Geological Survey said the epicenter of the magnitude 6.5 quake was 40 kilometers southeast of the district of Jurm in Afghanistan's mountainous Hindu Kush region, bordering Pakistan and Tajikistan. The quake struck 188 kilometers deep below the Earth's surface, causing it to be felt over a wide area. The Disaster Management Authority in northwestern Pakistan said 9 people died and 47 were injured in various parts of the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Many were hurt when the roofs of their homes collapsed on them. Russia blasted an apartment block in Ukraine with missiles yesterday after launching a swarm of drones at cities overnight, a deadly display of force following a solidarity visit by China's leader Xi Jinping. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky tweeted security camera video of a residential apartment block in the southern city of Zaporizhia exploding as it was struck with a missile in broad daylight. Regional authorities said at least 1 person was confirmed dead and 25 wounded in the strike. Right now, residential areas where ordinary people and children live are being fired at, Zelensky wrote. This must not become just another day in Ukraine or anywhere else in the world. The world needs greater unity and determination to defeat Russian terror faster and protect lives. In Arzhevchiv, a riverside town south of the capital, at least 6 people were killed and 18 others were taken to hospital when 2 dormitories at a college were struck by a drone. More than 100 workers and 28 vehicles were deployed to the scene, and the search for survivors was continuing, authorities said. Sirens blared across the capital and swaths of northern Ukraine, and the military said it had shot down 16 of 21 Iranian-made Shahid suicide drones. In an apparent reference to the Chinese president's visit to the Russian capital, Zelensky tweeted, "Every time someone tries to hear the word peace in Moscow, another order is given there for such criminal strikes." Zelensky visited troops near the front line yesterday. His office released video of him handing out medals to soldiers, which it said was filmed near Bakhmut. Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson insisted hand on heart Wednesday that he never lied to lawmakers about rule-breaking government parties during the COVID-19 pandemic, mounting a robust defense at a hearing that could damage or even end his tumultuous political career. The House of Commons Standards Committee questioned Johnson over misleading statements he made to Parliament about a slew of gatherings in government buildings that breached lockdown rules. If the committee concludes that he deliberately lied, he could face suspension or even lose his seat in the Commons. Johnson came out swinging, telling the committee after taking an oath on a Bible, hand on heart, did not lie to the House. If anybody thinks I was farting during lockdown, they are completely wrong, Johnson said during a session that displayed his characteristic qualities: blustering self-confidence, verbosity, and, to critics, a loose relationship with facts. Johnson also criticized the committee, which has 4 conservative members and 3 from opposition parties, saying it was acting as investigator, prosecutor, judge, and jury. The hours-long hearing was a moment of peril for a politician whose career has been a roller coaster of scandals and comebacks. French President Emmanuel Macron said Wednesday that the pension bill he pushed through without a vote in Parliament needs to be implemented by the end of the year, sticking to his decision to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64 despite mass protest. Macron, who made the comments in an interview broadcast on national television, said the bill will continue its democratic path. The Constitutional Council needs to review the bill in the coming weeks, and it can only be turned into law after the body gives its approval. It was the first time that Macron spoke publicly since his government forced the pension bill through Parliament last week, prompting scattered protest in Paris and across the country, some degenerating into violence. His government survived 2 no-confidence votes at the lower chamber of Parliament on Monday. The 45-year-old president repeatedly said that he was convinced that France's retirement system had needed to be modified to keep it financed. That reform is not a luxury, it is not fun, it is a necessity for the country, he said. Macron also condemned the violence at some protests. He notably referred to rioters storming the U.S. Capitol in 2021 and Brazil's top government buildings earlier this year, as well as the Yellow Vest movement against social injustice in France in 2018, which led to violent clashes and vandalism in the Paris streets. Ukraine and the International Monetary Fund have agreed on a $15.6 billion loan package aimed at shoring up government finances severely strained by Russia's invasion and leveraging even more support by reassuring allies that Ukraine is pursuing strong economic policies and fighting corruption. Ukraine's finance minister said Wednesday that the program will help to mobilize financing from Ukraine's international partners, as well as to maintain macro-financial stability and ensure the path to post-war reconstruction after Ukrainian victory in the war against the aggressor. The loan program will run for 4 years, with the first 12 to 18 months focusing on helping Ukraine close its massive budget deficit and easing the pressure to print money to use for spending, the IMF said in a statement Tuesday. Printing money to fund people's pensions, state salaries, and basic services can make things worse by fueling inflation and destabilizing the currency. The remainder of the program will focus on supporting Ukraine's bid for European Union membership and post-war reconstruction. The IMF deal is expected to leverage even more money for Ukraine because it provides evidence to potential donor governments, including in the group of 7 major democracies and the European Union, that Ukraine's government is following sound economic policies. Muslim authorities in Saudi Arabia and several other Middle Eastern countries say this year's fasting month of Ramadan will begin Thursday based on the expected sighting of the crescent moon. For the next 30 days, Muslims will refrain from eating or drinking anything, even the tiniest sip of water, from sunrise to sunset. Many will more strictly observe prayers, donate to charity, and devote more time to reading the Quran as they seek to draw closer to God. This year, many will struggle to afford holiday treats amid soaring prices fueled in part by the war in Ukraine. The holy month will also be shadowed by the suffering in Turkey and Syria, where an earthquake last month killed more than 52,000 people, and in conflict zones across the Muslim world, though there have been some encouraging signs of possible reconciliation. More than 1.8 billion Muslims, who account for around a quarter of the world's population, are expected to observe Ramadan. Islam follows a lunar calendar, so the month begins a week and a half earlier each year, cycling through the seasons, including the long days of hot summers. The start of the month depends on the sighting of the crescent moon by local religious authorities and astronomers, and can sometimes vary from country to country. But this year there was broad agreement that it began Wednesday evening, with Thursday declared as the first day of fasting. The foreign ministers of Israel and Poland held a meeting they had Wednesday as a breakthrough in restoring a relationship that has been badly damaged for years due to disagreements over how to remember Polish behavior during the Holocaust. The ministers signed an agreement that they said would allow for the resumption of Israeli youth trips to Poland, one of several tension-causing points of contention between the two countries. Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen's visit to Poland was the first at the level since 2018. Poland's foreign minister said Israeli President Isaac Herzog plans to attend observances next month for the 80th anniversary of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, an armed 1943 revolt by Jews in German-occupied Poland. I came here to restore the relationship between our countries, and I found in you, my distinguished colleague, a trusted partner, Cohen said at a news conference alongside Polish Foreign Minister Zbigniew Rau, whom he referred to more than once as his friend. Poland has been one of Israel's closest allies in Europe over the years, and Israel appears eager to restore that relationship. Israel is also trying to shore up foreign alliances at a time when its new far-right government, which took office in December, has seen its relations with the United States and European Union deteriorate. Public screenings of a slasher film that features Winnie the Pooh were scrapped abruptly in Hong Kong on Tuesday, sparking discussions over increasing censorship in the city. Film distributor Seven Pillars Entertainment announced on Facebook that the release of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey on Thursday had been cancelled with great regret in Hong Kong and neighboring Macau. In an email reply to the Associated Press, the distributor said it was notified by cinemas that they could not show the film as scheduled, but it didn't know why. The cinema chains involved did not immediately reply to a request for comment. For many residents, the Winnie the Pooh character is a playful taunt of China's President Xi Jinping, and Chinese censors in the past had briefly banned social media searches for the bear in the country. In 2018, the film Christopher Robin, also featuring Winnie the Pooh, was reportedly denied a release in China. The film being pulled in Hong Kong has prompted concern on social media over the territory's shrinking freedoms. Now it's time for business news. Today's New York stock close price is 14,741.08. The NYSE Composite is decreased by 244.87 points or 1.63%. Tokyo stock close price is 27,466.61. The Nikkei 225 index is increased by 520.94 points or 1.93%. Shanghai stock close price is 3,265.7475. The Shanghai Composite Index is increased by 10.10 points or 0.31%. Hong Kong stock close price is 19,591.43. The Hang Seng Index is increased by 332.67 points or 1.73%. Bombay stock close price is 58,214.59. The Sensex index is increased by 139.91 points or 0.24%. Let's have a look on today's sports stories. Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout had dreamed of this moment, along with millions of fans throughout Japan and the United States, the two biggest stars on the planet, longtime teammates facing each other at 60 feet 6 inches, the world title at stake. Of course, the count went full, and then Ohtani got Trout to swing under the slider on the outside corner, sealing Japan's 3-2 win Tuesday night and its first World Baseball Classic title since 2009. This is the best moment in my life, Ohtani said through a translator. Ohtani, the two-way star who has captivated fans across two continents, was voted MVP of the WBC after batting .435 with 1 homer, 4 doubles, 8 RBIs and 10 walks while going 2-0 with a save and a 1.86 ERA on the mound, striking out 11 in 9 and 2/3 innings. Former Real Madrid and Arsenal midfielder Mesut Ozil, who won the World Cup with Germany in 2014, retired from soccer Wednesday at the age of 34. Ozil said injuries played a role in his decision. I have had the privilege to be a professional football player for almost 17 years now, and I feel incredibly thankful for the opportunity, Ozil wrote on social media. But in recent weeks and months, having also suffered some injuries, it's become more and more clear that it's time to leave the big stage of football. His immediate retirement brings an early end to his season with Turkish club Istanbul Başakşehir, where he made only 7 appearances for the team. Ozil won the Spanish league title with Real Madrid in 2012 and the FA Cup 4 times with Arsenal. His international career ended abruptly in 2018 when he quit the Germany squad citing racism and disrespect that followed anti-Turkish comments from German politicians and abuse from some fans toward Ozil, who has Turkish heritage, amid criticism of his decision to pose for a picture with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan in the run-up to the 2018 World Cup. Germany coach Hansi Flick, who was with the squad as assistant to Joachim Löw at the 2014 World Cup, paid tribute to Ozil as one of the best soccer players in the world at his peak. Let's have a look on today's weather forecast. That's all in today's news. Keep watching Millennium News 24 for latest update. Millennium TV USA and Millennium News 24 network is transmitted and available to be watched free for all LED TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV. And also in all European countries and Australia available with the Sky Network, Worldwide Jagu TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jagu BD Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all types of informative and entertainment program. Thank you.